Recording, yay! What's up, disc golfers? Joe here with Joe's Disc Golf, hanging out in the studio, having a lot of fun, just trying to get things done. Played a round with my brother-in-law today, and I gotta say, it was a ton of fun because my arm was absolutely destroyed. And that is that. My arm is absolutely killing me. But before I get into that, and while I clean my glasses, I have to talk about our sponsor. And no, it's not a glasses cleaning kit. That would be too appropriate. That'd be too on the nose. It would be sponsored by Log. What rolls downstairs alone in Paris runs over your neighbor's dog? What's great for a snack and it fits on your back? It's Log. It's big, it's heavy, it's wood. It's better than bad, it's good. Log from Blammo. And sorry, RJ, no, there's no invite. I was invited. It was me and my wife and my daughter and my brother-in-law, and we had a good old time. We had a great time playing out there at Shove Park. My arm was dead. So yesterday, this would be Wednesday for those of you keeping track with your at-home calendars, I went out and had some extra free time because the sport I was covering decided for the first hour and a half of their 2-hour practice, they were going to watch film and do chalk talk. So there was no point for me to be inside. I went out onto the football field and decided to throw some, and I was feeling great. There was like 4 or 5 mile an hour wind. It was flat. It was wide open, and I was having a good time. I started ripping on some discs. Started throwing the Loft Discs Boreum, and that did not go so well. That turned into a lot of rollers again. But I started playing around. I started messing around with my Raider, and just was like, all right, I'm just going to go ham. I'm just going to go all out. Stupid fence is all I can say. That stupid fence that I hit about 2 feet off the ground. Maybe I would have got it, maybe not. But I threw it 474 feet according to UDisc. Yes, roast me, internet distance, I don't care. I've used UDisc to measure all of my PRs, and so at least there's some semblance of consistency in the inconsistency. I guess, it is what it is. But threw it 474 feet, that's about 14 feet further than my last PR. Had I not hit that fence, I think I would have cracked the 500-foot club. And before you go out and say it, there's no way in hell I can throw 500 feet or 450 in a tournament. I've thrown 450 twice in a tournament, and both of them were with favorable wind conditions. But it was a ton of fun to play. Well, fast forward to today, and I'm an old man. I'm 33 years old, and I am an old man because my arm hurt. After the first couple holes, I was like, yeah, I'm feeling it. And then I'm like, oh, I'm feeling it today. So there's that. Did not go so well. Started out, I was like 3 for 3 on birdies, and then, which I thought my daughter was my good luck charm. And I think she was. She was a great heckler at 9 months old. She was just heckling the crap out of me. Every time I'd go to throw, she'd start laughing or blowing raspberries or clicking her tongue at me. Nothing like getting harassed by a 9-month-old baby. Not a baby, you're the baby. So there was that, and so that was fun. I'm like I said, an old man, and so we got, after about 6-7 holes, it was not good. It was not good. Yes, RJ, there is a website coming hopefully in July, which is a week away. Dear Lord, I have a lot of work to do on that website. And I'm going out of town this weekend. Oh, crap. But there will be discgolfhealthy.com where you can find shoulder and elbow and wrist and forearm and all that fun stuff and stretching. And I'll have a Disc Golf Healthy warm-up and cool-down routine in my free time. I'm working on it, guys. I really am. It is summertime, and I'm trying to spend time with the family, get out and disc golf a little bit, and produce content for all of you lovely, lovely people out there. You guys are the best, and I just want to say we all care about you. I may or may not have had my QPR training. For those of you who don't know what it is suicide prevention training. I went through it at 9 o'clock this morning, and it is incredibly depressing, to say the least. I mean, it's great training. It's great to recognize all that stuff, but talking about suicide is just horribly depressing. Oh, Nightbot, you suck. You suck, Nightbot. Nightbot is supposed to send out links, but apparently the command does not exist. That's all right. Should have come to the one I'm hosting. Yes. Yeah. But I will say that nothing like, because I'm guessing after that you'd go disc golfing to cheer everyone up. RJ is lucky enough where he has a disc golf course right next to where he works. Legitimately, like, he has to park in the parking lot of the disc golf course to go to work, essentially. Lucky bastard. You farting ice hole. But that's all right. And Nightbot is yelling at me again. Awesome. So, before I get too far into this, or any further into this, we got to talk about the important stuff, the intro stuff, the stuff that I wrote down so I wouldn't forget. We are 6 minutes in of this recording, and I have to plug the socials, of course, because, there's Instagram and there's Twitter. I'm trying to get more active on both. With some moderate success. That you can find me at Joe's Disc Golf. There's also a Facebook page, which is basically reposting all the Instagram stuff and podcast stuff. So you can go ahead and do that and go over to facebook.com/Joe's Disc Golf. You could go to joesdiscgolf.com, where you can see and listen to this very podcast right now through the Apple Play thingy embedded in there. You can also check out the Half in the Bag podcast the same way, because Half in the Bag is pretty fun, and yours truly had to solo host. Words are so hard. It's a good thing I don't host a podcast or anything like that. But yeah, I had to host all by myself, and it was a quick Father's Day one, but that is better. There we go. I think I fixed my issues with Twitch. Or not. Hosted that all by myself, so you can listen to that. That was about 5 minutes long, give or take. And I was more than half in the bag, as you can tell. I was just having a good old time. But that is so much fun. So, yeah, we got that going on. Got that. Disc Golf Healthy is coming along, trying to get that out there. Turns out it's a lot more work than I anticipated to get this off the ground, but once it is off the ground, I will be able to do that. And already talked about our sponsor, jumped right into that. What other updates do I have here? Trying to get better at the Buy Me a Coffee behind the scenes stuff. So if you're interested in supporting the channel, either Disc Golf Healthy, which isn't up yet, or joesdiscgolf.com, you can go over there, or you can buy some sweet, sweet merch. That is still available. I believe that's all working. And Twitch, you can go jump off a bridge because you are not working. Take a long walk off a short pier, Twitch. Otherwise, Facebook is actually not giving me any issues. YouTube is not giving me any issues. And my recording software, knock on wood, is not giving me issues at this point. Yeah, but other behind-the-scenes stuff that's going on here, working on that fun jazz. At the same time, working on getting sound panels up in the basement so this doesn't sound like an echo, 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 chamber, 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 chamber here. And, yeah, there's that. You guys probably can't quite hear it that much through the microphone, through some of the settings, but I promise you it does not sound good. On top of that, working on some sweet home automation, which I will mute my mic so I don't activate everybody's assistant here, but check this out. Check that out. Lights went off, lights went on. Check this out. For those of you listening through the audio podcast, well, you didn't see anything because what I have done is I figured out how to set up my lights to activate through a Siri command. It's super nerdy, but super awesome, and it looks like witchcraft. You're a wizard, Harry. A hairy wizard. But I guess we shall talk about The Preserve. Let's talk about who's not going to be there. According to sources, including RJ, Henna is not coming out. I don't know why. She's not going to be playing. Kristen Tatar will not be there. You might have seen the post on joesdiscgolf.com or through Twitter, wherever you get your news. I highly recommend heading over to joesdiscgolf.com, where you can get your news. I try to keep it updated the best I can. Otherwise, same old. You can go ahead and check that out. But in really quick terms here, what time is it? 10:45. All right. Kristen Tatar is out due to COVID reasons because her boyfriend, Silver Lott, has tested positive. And at the time of recording, she had not tested positive. Not that I'd heard, not that I'd seen on Instagram. When I originally wrote the article at the same time, same thing. Silver had tested positive, but unfortunately, Kristen Tatar has not been so positive. She's been quite negative, which in this circumstance is pretty fantastic. So she has canceled her trip to the U.S. She's not coming out for the Preserve. She does not have any plans for the immediate future, and who knows if or when she's coming back to the U.S. to play some disc golf. Right now, she's just chilling at home, maybe taking care of Silver. I don't know if they live together or not. I don't know their relationship. I know they're dating, but that's, whatever. That's not my business. This isn't Disc Golf TMZ. That is a Foundation podcast, not a Joe's Disc Golf podcast. But unfortunately, yeah, she is out. She will not be able to defend her title at the Preserve, where she absolutely spanked the women's field. She bent them over a barrel and showed them the 50 states with beating everybody, beating Paige Pierce by 10 strokes. And then after that, it was another 4 or 5 strokes to Katrina Allen, I think. Jessica Weiss was also up there too. Those are the only couple that were behind or that were under par. But Kristen Tatar absolutely dominated. This is what started her absolute takeover of the U.S. last year, I believe, if I remember things correctly. Although, actually, the Preserve last year was later in the year, so, whatever. Potato, tomato. It is what it is. So, she will not be here. She is taking time to keep herself healthy, to take care of her daughter, to presumably take care of Silver in whatever fashion that needs to be. It sounds like Latitude is behind her. They'd be stupid not to be. And it sounds like everybody's just kind of rolling with it. I did not hear why, and if RJ is still in the chat, I did not hear why Henna is not going to be there. But while RJ may or may not be responding to that, I will find out. I will try to find out. No promises. We'll talk about the Preserve preview, which is up on joesdiscgolf.com. So Preserve is quite a long course. It is over 10,000 feet for the men and over 9,000 feet for the women. So let's check this out right here with the Joe's Disc Golf. Boom, boom, boom. What happened last year? Let's finish up what happened last year. Obviously, I told you about the FPO and Kristen Tatar's utter dominance. But on the MPO side, it was a 3-horse race between Ricky Wysocki, Eagle McMahon, and Paul McBeth. Ricky won at 35 under. Eagle second at 34 under. Paul McBeth under 33 under takes third. At various points during the round, all three of them were tied, where each one was tied individually. Big shout out to Gannon Burr, who also was 31 down in a 4th place finish at the event. A fantastic top 10 for was he 16 at the time? Was he 15? I don't know. Kid was young, and it's just not fair. Very talented, very, very talented kid. So they are playing the Black Bear layout, which is a safari layout at the Preserve. This combines the 3 different courses that they have there, the Lynx, the Red Fox, and the Timberwolf. Normally, the Timberwolf is the hardest course there at over 8,000 feet, par 61. The Lynx is just a bit shorter, same par. And the Red Fox is the family-friendly version, which is shorter and softer on the par. However, it does not mean that it is any easier. Eagle Macbeth, yes. That kid is still so young. Hey, RJ, I thought you were doing some research. Come on, producer. Tell me why Henna was out. You're just kind of slacking off in the chat. God, you're a terrible producer. Off-site producer without a live video feed. It's okay. But no excuses. Cutting your pay for the Half in the Bag Disc Golf podcast. What's half of nothing? All right, so MPO, the course measures in at 10,896, reverse nice, feet with a par of 66. The FPO is 9,665 feet. Good job cutting that 1 foot short. And no excuses, RJ. You should not be playing with your dog on stream. Back injury is what he heard. Henna is out with a back injury. That could be a lot of different things. We could even dive into that. Should I start another podcast called Disc Golf Healthy Podcast where I talk about different injuries and things like that? It might be a monthly podcast because, good God, I cannot handle another podcast, I don't think. But, so yes, back and forth. ADD, what's up? The FPO course, like I said, is shorter by about 1,200 feet, which is a good thing. The MPO and FPO will share tees on holes 5, 12, 13, 15, 17, and 18. For the other 12 holes, the MPO and FPO will have different tee locations, but what the nice thing is here is for the most part, they will be trying to execute the same or very similar shot. So it's not just a case of everybody throws from the same tee. For the women, it's a par 4 versus a par 3 or par 5 versus par 4, whatever, where you're just trying to throw out distance shot after distance shot after distance shot when they have moved the tees up, and a lot of times they're not even in the way. They're kind of off to the side a bit, so they can still set up all the regalia that comes with a Disc Golf Pro Tour, the tent and the signage and all that fun jazz out there. But they will be able to keep it up for both, and it should not interfere with anybody's play. Couple times, there is a water carry where the men will have to use the FPOT as a drop zone. So that's going on there. Pretty sweet, in my opinion. Sorry for those of you who think the bitrate sucks, which it does, on Twitch. According to PDGA stats, low back injury for Henna. And that is not good. That could mean a variety of things. Generally speaking, just from what I recall off the top of my head with her posture, being a younger female athlete, I would put the odds very strongly in the favor of her hips being out of line. Very common injury in runners, but I've seen it across all different sports. Very simple to get it back in. Very, very painful when they're off. You end up with a horrible low back pain. You can't really twist left or right. You do have to get them put back, generally by a chiropractor. You can kind of do a self-manipulation with varying success, but I would recommend just going to chiropractor, a trusted chiropractor. And yes, RJ, every runner ever from now until the end of time, good Lord. I hated college cross country just for that fact, having to do hips. That's the only thing you saw, hips and shin splints, but that's a whole different story. I will not talk about work, sort of. Going back to other things that I deal with at work, low back pain, lots and lots of low back pain. One of the things that when you're doing your disc golf form correctly and you're kind of leaning over a little bit over your hips, and then with sitting for long periods of time over extended amounts of time, so sitting for multiple hours at a time, days and weeks on end, maybe having a long international flight, maybe, who knows, that could have something to do with it. one thing that can happen is your hip flexors get shortened because they're in that state. And so because of that, that pulls on, long story short, your hip flexors attach, generally speaking, to the front of your legs, to your femur, to that big old thigh bone, up towards the top quarter, and they attach to the front of your spine in your low back. When those are tight and when those are inflamed, they pull on your low back, and that makes things feel ouchy. That is a professional term. RJ can back me up. Make things feel ouchies. That is kind of where we're at. There could be a number of other things. I would bet against, like, say, a stress fracture, a low back, a lumbar stress fracture. I would bet against anything disc-related. Obviously, I don't know her family history. I don't know anything like that. So that obviously can factor into it. But generally speaking, I would say hips and hip flexors are out of whack, especially with all the twisting. Quadratus lumborum, QL, it's a low back muscle that you don't really know about it, and you don't really notice it until it hurts, and then you could tell me exactly where that muscle is. To stretch that, it's kind of weird and awkward. Generally, I would suggest for all the pro players, all the disc golfers out there, you should be doing some kind of yoga, some kind of stretching program. It doesn't have to be crazy long, but I would highly recommend getting those hamstrings, those hip flexors and quads, low back stretches, hip flexor stretches, stretches when it comes to, there's a small gnat flying around that you may or may not be able to see on camera, and that's why I'm swatting at this. But those are the kinds of things that you would look at to generally fix this. Hopefully, that is something that goes off there. What else do we have to talk about? What are we talking about? I talked about Kristen. I talked about the preserve. I talked about, what else is this? Slammer. Not Slimer, Slammer. Slammer review. Developers. Slammer. All right, so I've collected my thoughts. I will have a more detailed review coming out. The Sockibomb Slammer, the Slammer in general, is an overstable mold. It was discontinued a couple years ago by Dynamic Discs, but because Ricky Wysocki wanted a pig-like disc, he liked the thumb track. He eventually did come to like that. He threw the pig really well. He wanted a pig replacement. So they came and brought back the Slammer. But not to be content with that, he needed to slap the Sockibomb logo on it and make it more overstable. I threw today, before I completely threw out and destroyed my arm. Drugs are awesome. Thank you, naproxen. Don't take too much naproxen because it will also destroy your stomach lining. I have not had that issue, but my sister-in-law, who's a nurse at a hospital, says that they have a lot of people who come in with ulcers who take naproxen or Aleve, same thing, every single day. So take it sparingly. I like it instead of ibuprofen because you take 2 pills for 12 hours instead of 12 pills. Well, no, not 12 pills, 6 pills. Math is hard. Anyway, back to that. So I got a chance to throw a classic Slammer, classic plastic, a lucid plastic Slammer, and the Sockibomb Orbit Fusion, Orbit Blend, Orbit Royal, whatever plastic that is. I got to throw all 3 of those today, and the classic was decent. I say it flew pretty good. The lucid was actually a little less stable than I thought it would have been. That was kind of where that was. And then I threw the Sockibomb Slammer. Holy bejesus. I tried to throw all of them kind of flat. It didn't quite come out that way. I threw a little bit of an anti-line with the lucid Slammer. The one classic came out pretty flat. The Sockibomb Slammer came out on Annie. It annied right away. And I tried to throw it flat and it immediately tried to Anheuser out. That one came up about 20 feet short of the pin. The pin was about 250 feet. and the other two blew by the pin by about 15 to 20 feet. Just trying to throw them all the same wind condition, same everything. Forehand was all about the same. I threw more of a flex line with the Sockibomb Slammer, and it was absolutely amazing. I also threw it compared to the harp. Now, the harp I was comparing it to was a harp that was in my bag for quite a while, so it is a little less stable than you'd expect. However, it is kind of where I think a harp is, generally speaking. I also compared it to a zone, something else in my disc. It was more stable than the zone that I had, so that was pretty shocking, in my opinion. I wasn't expecting it to be more stable than the zone. I thought they would be right about on par, but I was wrong about that. Anyway, that is what I can say about that. The Sockibomb Slammer is incredibly stable. It is a great approach disc. It is more stable than the zone. However, I'm sure you'll be able to beat it in decently well, get it to be a zone-like flight. The big difference is it has more of a mid-range feel with that concave rim there as compared to a regular rounded rim that the zone has. So if you don't like that concave feel, you're not going to like the disc. It's just that simple. It's like putting, where you like a bead or you don't like a bead, or there are those weird people who like the micro bead. And I think that's one front that us non-bead and pro-bead people, putters, can agree that those people are kind of strange. I think they're really, really strange. So, yeah, that is kind of there. That's that's going on. If you are in chat, you can always feel free to drop in a question, comment, concern, scream of pain, and as long as it's appropriate, I will read it out on stream, answer your question. We can try to have a discussion, even though there is a bit of a latency issue. Don't forget to smash the like button if you're watching live or if you're watching this on YouTube, because that really helps out. The algorithm hates me because I started getting momentum and then stopped producing videos for a few months when my daughter was born. I don't regret that decision at all. However, the algorithm's like, shame, shame, shame on you. We're going to keep punishing you because that one time for 3 months, you didn't upload anything. And now it is 6 months after I started again, and we still don't trust you. YouTube algorithm has trust issues. So, yeah, that's kind of that. So there is some fun stuff. You can also join the Discord server, which you can find at Linktr.ee /Joe's Disc Golf. From there, you can find all the links to everywhere, socials, website, support, as well as the Discord server. I try to be active in there. We are a growing community. It is growing slightly larger by the day. And if you want to talk about disc golf, if you want to talk about anything, we have channels for everybody. Whether you want to talk about tournaments, whether you want to talk about technique or any breaking news, we can set up other channels. We have a general chat channel. I could set up other stuff where, if topics come up and it seems to be clogging up the general chat, we can slide you on over to other things. We also have voice channels, and people can talk to each other like human beings. Human beings. That's what we are. We are all a bunch of people out here. But I believe, unless anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, screams of pain, anything like that, that is all I have for right now. The summer has been absolutely crazy for me. I'm trying to keep up with all the disc golf news, reviews, and all that fun jazz. News, reviews, and rants, if I can borrow a phrase from a different YouTube channel that I've caught a few episodes here of. Try to get out there more, trying to get stuff. I'm going to experiment with some videos. I don't want to say daily, but as news happens. So as I kind of talked about last week, the Simon stuff came up. That would be its own separate video where I talk about it for like 10 minutes or so. And then we can go into more depth, a more back and forth conversation here on the channel where you guys can look at some of the videos in a nice bite-sized format, and then we can talk about it here. So, yeah, I think that about does it. That is a shorter episode here, clocking in at about a half hour. But don't forget, you can always find me on social media, tweet at me, Instagram at me, DM me, anything. I will try to get back to you. I'm on Reddit. I may or may not be responding to your post randomly as I see it. I just happen to check it whenever. I'm also on the internet at joesdiscgolf.com. Check out discgolfhealthy.com. That should be up and running here, hopefully in the next week or so. Fingers crossed, people. Fingers crossed. There's a lot of work to do, and not a lot of time to do it. But that is that. Thank you all for watching. As always, if you get a great tree kick, don't forget to thank Treesus. And if you get kicked deeper into the woods, well, you need to reflect and repent because you have transgressed against Treesus. And we need to repent and reflect for our sins there. As always, I've been Joe. You've been awesome. Thanks for watching, and I can't wait to see you all in the next video.